So welcome to A Square Maths Made Easy Academy. Now in my today's video, we're going to be considering past questions. And these very past questions are from Cells, A-level mathematics. And this question is from UK students. It's basically for UK students. And almost 100% of their questions are theory. Now, can we observe this past question, November 2018? The question says, integrate 1 over x. Now, I want to integrate 1 over x. The first thing I'm going to write is solution. Then, this is the symbol for integration. And the question says 1 over x, then introduce the x. The x means a little change in what? X. Now, the issue now is this. Anytime you are given a rational function, this is called a rational function. It comprises the numerator and the denominator. Now, the first thing that you are going to do is to differentiate x. Differentiate what? X. And how do I differentiate x? I want you to watch. If you observe this x, you agree with me that the power is invisible 1. And what is the rule of differentiation? Consider the power. The power is 1, then this is 1. Then multiply and repeat the question. Now the question is x raised to the power of what? 1. According to the law of differentiation, introduce minus 1. Always introduce minus 1. Then can we proceed? This is now 1 times x will give you x. Then 1 minus 1 is what? 0. This is the answer. But there is a theorem under indices that anything raised to power 0 is what? 1. So this is 1. Now, since you differentiated the denominator and the answer is 1. Now, the question is, does it answer correspond with the value of the numerator? Yes. If it should correspond, just directly tells us that the answer is ln of absolute value of the denominator, which is absolute value of x, then finally plus what? C. Why do we choose to introduce plus c? This is called an arbitrary constant. It is called what? Arbitrary constant. Now, what am I trying to say? This is just for those that are writing CPT. But our major target is what? The theorem aspect. Now, what do we do? There is what we call integration by substitution. By what? Substitution method. Now, how do we integrate? When do we know that this is by substitution? It is when we differentiate the denominator and the result corresponds with the value of the numerator, or else disappears at the numerator. It can go by substitution method. Now, what do we say first? The law is this. Let u be equals to the denominator. What's the denominator? X. So can we differentiate u with respect to x? I will now have du all over the x, then equals to. I have told you that when we differentiate x, we have done it already here. The answer is what? 1. Then what is my target is to make the x subject of the formula. Call this over 1. Then cross multiply. Cross what? Multiply. I will now say the x times 1. This implies that it will give you the x. Then equals to. Du times 1 will give you what? Du. So which means the value of the x is already known. What is it now? U. Can we get back to the question now? So let's continue. Now the question says integral of 1 over x under the x, right, is now equal to integral of 1 all over. Remember, we consider x to be what? U. I will now call this u, right? Then this is the x. What is the x? Look at it. The x is the u. Then I can now fix in what? Du. Then finally, I will now integrate 1 over u. This is a rational word function. Are you with me now? And the law is this. Differentiate the denominator. This time around we're differentiating u. And if you differentiate u, the result is what? 1. Now, does this 1 correspond with the numerator? Yes. So what is the answer now? Ln of absolute value of the denominator, which is u, then plus what? C. Finally, do we know the value of u? What is the value of u? The value of u is what? X. Then if I now substitute, it will give me the absolute value of x, then plus what? C. And that is the answer. See you in my next video. Thank you.